A Brush with Fate, Chapter 4, Part 2.
So? You were zoning out again, Lulu.
Luna sighed, eating the syrup-drenched pancakes in front of her as Celestia let out a soft titter.
That is an introspective look if I've ever seen one.
Nodding, Luna finally looked up, mouth working a few times before any words finally manifested.
It's an odd thing to think you're ready to talk about something, but clearly aren't. It's an interesting conundrum.
That drew all of Celestia's attention, the older sister shoving down her immediate, excited reaction.
Well, sometimes we don't fully understand the impact of what we want to talk about until it is said. That's what I have found.
Celestia finally explained.
That makes sense.
The Lunar Princess mused, Celestia leaning a bit closer as a rather tender smile tickled at Luna's mouth.
Oh, and what's that smile for? I haven't seen that in ages. It's just Steel.
The absolutely smug I could have called this grin on Celestia's face made Luna growl, waving a hoof in mock anger at her sister as her dark-colored face blushed in a bright crimson.
Oh, don't you dare! No, it's not like that!
She stammered, Celestia continuing to grin and slowly levitated some pancakes into her mouth.
Didn't say anything,
Celestia proclaimed, thoroughly enjoying where the conversation was heading.
I mean, you did seem a bit more relaxed 4 days ago. I heard rumors you snatched your poor assistant away to parts unknown.
The tender smile returned, punching through the embarrassed blush as Luna averted her eyes.
Oh, so you did. In a manner of speaking,
Luna's tone became much softer and more sincere, almost hesitant. Celestia quickly abandoned further teasing, sitting and waiting patiently for her sister to continue.
I think you were right, Sally. Having some pony there to listen is helping. I do feel bad that I can't speak of this to you, but Lulu, don't.
Celestia whispered, scooting over to wrap her sister up in a tight hug.
We're closer than ever, but we each are different. There are things and challenges I don't want or expect you to understand about my life. And the same goes to you. I want to be there for you, and of course I'd prefer to be the one you talk to.
She reached down and gave her sister a soft nudge, with her forehead, the older alicorn sighing.
But I understand when that isn't the case, and that isn't healthy. We both have our own lives, as joined together as they are in a way. I'm just glad that you found some pony who can help you through whatever this is.
Celestia then paused, not able to resist a slight grin.
But I can't take much credit for this. All I did was make Steelheart's idea official. I gave him a direction to help, and he came to me on your behalf. Then I need to thank him.
Luna whispered.
And make my thanks very clear. Oh, with a kiss? Sister!
Luna blurted out, shoving the cackling alabaster alicorn away with a glare.
The moment! 'Tis ruined! Oh, but so worth it. This is payback for the sea spray comment, isn't it? Oh, I'd never be that petty. Oh, of course not.
Luna's voice trailed off, an apparently new thought making the blush return, all the more furious as she mumbled.
What was that? He is sensitive, though, and doesn't judge my weaknesses. And that's extremely appealing, in a few ways.
Celestia snorted, waving a fork at her sister at that.
A few ways? Try a lot of ways. Sea Spray didn't laugh when I told him my fear of chickens. Talk about points in the potential special some creature department.
Celestia's voice now took on a slightly whimsical tone, Luna grinning at her sister.
Well, you seem much more at ease talking about it now. Well, you know now, and knowing my sister is a bit happier has put me at ease. Perhaps in part due to her current company,
Luna stayed silent as her sister softly chuckled.
That's not a no. But seriously, Lulu, I'm just happy that you have another friend, and a handsome, sensitive one at that. Perhaps another Shining Armor scenario. I've seen that dreamy look on your face whenever he's the topic of conversation. Strong, handsome, goofy, He is rather... Wait, sister!
As Celestia laughed, Luna's own smile began to widen. Conjuring up a fully loaded lemon cream pie, the alicorn took aim and sent the sugary projectile blasting directly at her sister's face. And then there was a splat. Luna could sense the eye twitch underneath the mound of cream, Celestia wiping a hole for her mouth.
That is 1 out of 3. Well played, Luna. Well played. Well, I learned from the best, dear sister. Now I must finish my meal and go see that play before work.
Luna replied calmly with a smug smile, Celestia still cleaning the pie off of her face.
Love you, Tia.
Celestia tried to hold back a giggle. She really did. Luna bit back tears as the final act began to wind down, silently trying her hardest not to completely break down.
Perhaps this was a mistake. It is too close to my heart.
Disguised as a normal-sized pony as a change, Luna sat in the far right of the theater, the rest of the seats being about half full, as it has been released a good month or two ago.
I enjoy film, to be sure, but there's a strange sincerity for live performances, especially songs.
Perhaps her current challenges were coloring the play, but what seemed like a standard plot of love, loss, and heartache had turned into a maelstrom of emotions within Luna's heart.
He served her for years, affection growing. A simple servant of royalty who could never be with a queen. Yet that didn't stop him from trying, staying at her side for thick and thin. As she wished, words left unsaid, but their implication was not. And yet he never knew how much she cared, only suspected. Even when she thought of him dead to the raiding nation that burned their castle, she still held out hope. Yet now, she is destined to be wed to an enemy to save her people. And he's now found alive and seeking her under a new name and mask. Yet now, he bleeds in her arms, life draining away.
Luna had specifically avoided spoilers for this play, and it was her growing fear that this would be a classic tragedy. A simpleton in love with a royal with whom he could only watch from afar. It was a common and heart-wrenching trope, but definitely not what Luna needed at this time.
Death cannot stop true love. It can just delay it for a while,
the servant whispered, and Luna had to muffle a choked sob into her hoof. Another similar sound caught her attention, the disguised alicorn glancing over to the seat in question. And to her absolute shock, a familiar dark purple pony sat with tears trickling down his cheeks. Green eyes locked onto the scene in front of them all.
Wait, Steelheart?
I've been saying it so long to you. You just wouldn't listen. Every time you said, "Servants, do or fetch this," you thought I was answering as you ask, Highness, but that's only because you were hearing wrong. I love you was what it was, but you never heard,
the servant whispered, prompting the queen to draw a shaky breath, magic gathering on her horn.
You would save me? But at what cost? No, you are a queen. To marry me would carry too great a cost. For what am I to you? He continued.
Love is many things, none of them logical,
the queen replied as she glared at her wounded servant.
And I don't care about the price, not anymore. What is the price for my love of you? You don't know, do you? I cannot let that stand.
Luna could only watch, more tears tracing down her cheeks as the final act concluded, the queen tossing off her title in favor of the servant, saving his life by binding hers to his. The princess joined the rest of the audience in a standing ovation as the cast members bowed on the conclusion of the play, tears still wet on her cheeks. Luna barely trusted her limbs to walk out of the theater into the common area, where then she sat down, struggling to categorize the emotions swirling in her heart. "Miss?" a familiar voice asked, Luna looking up into two familiar, caring eyes. "Oh, sorry, I was just asking if you're okay," Steelheart added, Luna letting out a soft laugh and wiping her eyes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it was a surprisingly moving play.
A queen betrothed is a heart-wrencher, that's for sure. It's the third time I've seen it, and I still learn something new each time, Steel remarked, Luna now torn between dropping her disguise.
I'll tell him, of course. I don't want to miss the chance of talking with him. What do you think about all that?
Luna asked.
The queen throwing aside her crown to be with a servant? Binding her life to his? To forestall death?
Steel shrugged, eyes narrowing, and thought briefly. I think she did what her heart told her to do, he finally said. And sometimes the price of a choice doesn't matter. The result is just worth it. Whatever the cost. The stallion's voice seemed to have a dam of emotion in front of it, yet also carrier of a knife's edge. He then chuckled, waving a hoof towards the stage behind the large wooden doors. You must have been one incredible pony. That's for sure. But love isn't logical, so he just needed to be incredible to her. It's a moving story regardless.
I agree. I suppose I just wasn't prepared for it.
Luna admitted as she stood up.
Thank you for your initial concern, by the way. It was quite sweet. I do need to get going.
Of course. It was nice meeting you, miss. Luna briefly toyed with the idea of a false name, a web of potential scenarios branching out from such a possibility.
No, that won't do. He trusts me, and I don't want to break that. You know me, Steel.
Luna whispered, the stallion's eyes widening in recognition as her disguise faded briefly, then returning to the simple, yellow-colored earth pony mare. Luna? He asked in confusion, brow furrowing briefly. The stallion seemed a bit torn, looking at his hooves and thought, Suppose there wasn't a good time to tell me that, huh? Not expecting to see me? Luna nodded, one of her hooves rubbing against each other in embarrassment.
I didn't think I'd know anyone here, much less you. I wanted to tell you right away. I promise you that. I just wanted...
Steel's head tilted in confusion, Luna not even finishing her sentence until she let out a held breath.
I wanted to talk to you just as a pony, not a princess.
Luna finally said, shoulders slumping. The last thing she expected was Steel to snort, barely holding in a laugh as his ears perked up. Luna, do you really think I've been treating you any differently when you're a princess in that context? He asked, making her stare in shock.
I'm an idiot.
She finally stammered.
I'm just not used to... Well, I just thought...
I get it, Luna. I do, he replied. Your initial reaction is that I treat you differently based on your title. I'm a bit of a unique case,
More than you know.
Luna whispered, knowing full well a blush heated up in her cheeks at that remark.
Did I just say...
Sorry?
Nothing. It's just... It's nice to see you, Steel. I suppose it's time for work in an hour or two.
She added, as she began to trot off.
Dare I? Steel?
She asked, making the guard glance over to her curiously.
What did you think about that, in the play?
Luna asked, a bit of excitement fluttering in her chest.
The queen being interested in someone far outside her own social circle?
The stallion blinked, pondering the question for a moment. I think that she, like any pony, shouldn't be concerned about what others think, if it makes her deeply happy, he finally said, rather slowly, as though thinking out loud. She was willing to bind her fate to his. I'd say that she cared enough to ignore the ones whose views weren't based on her happiness. The servant certainly tossed all caution to the wind to pursue her as well. Luna nodded, a tad perplexed at the answer.
Did he understand what I was implying? Do I understand it? Huh. Thank you, Steel. I'll see you at the castle?
Luna asked, Steel nodding as he trotted off. As Luna teleported back to the castle and got ready for her nightly duties, her eyes widened in shock realization.
Did he think that was what has been troubling me?
She asked her reflection in the mirror. There was a soft thud as she let her head hit the pillows, the alicorn letting out a soft, muffled yell.
Did I make it clear? No. Yes? Note to self. Avoid hints. Addendum. I should have learned that a long time ago.
One thing did, however, make the alicorn smile ever so slightly.
At least I have came to terms that Steel is attractive. in quite a few ways, even if I bungled my words. I like some pony.
Those last few words made a soft squeal leave Luna's lips, the princess hugging the nearest pillow close, her heart fluttering in a way that it hadn't for ages.
I like some pony.
In his apartment, Steel shrugged on his armor as the exchange with Luna continued to swirl in his mind. It was fairly well known amongst the guards that the Night Princess was romantic, a fan of the opera, plays, and the like. He just hadn't expected to run into her, let alone have that conversation of all things. At least now a few more things made sense. So that's what is troubling you. I'm afraid I can't help with that. Falling in love with a commoner? That's indeed out of my league. Try as he might, Steel couldn't get the slight regretful pang out of his heart at that thought. A quick glance in the mirror gave the stallion quite a sorry reflection indeed, ears laid flat as he shook his head. The usual cheery warmth that he felt when seeing Luna smile now seemed to turn to ash that slowly drifted down across his heart. It was a whimsical notion, nothing more. She's a princess after all, and I... Man, this is some tricky love. But it's love that's so well worth it in the end. Anyway, I'd love to give a very special thank you to my lovable donators. Top donator, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, Dresdon, Dospo, RuneScythe9852, CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Ryanny Dragonwolf, Dwight Cornel, Gagi, Secret Moon, Tallrascha, Starlight Glimmer, David E. Sanchez, Trey, Pokekiller Zach, Soul Dragon, Dak Britton, Joe Pierce E, and Alex F. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one.